Hi, I'm Sven and I'm standing here at GOTO Berlin with Kief Morris. Kief Morris is the author of the book Infrastructure as Code. This morning we had a keynote with Mary Poppedick and she said something like infrastructure as code is part of the future of software engineering. So we are really happy to have him here. Kief, who are you and what are you doing for a living?
So I'm a consultant with Thoughtworks. And what I do is I go in with our software delivery teams into organizations that want to deliver some software and find more effective ways of delivering software. And I'm increasingly getting involved. I go in with them to talk about, to help with how we manage the path to production, how do we interact with IT operations teams. And what I'm increasingly doing is getting involved with working with operations sides of organizations and how can they adopt more agile ways of working, how can they use the tools of infrastructure automation using practices from software engineering. So infrastructure as code is relevant because now infrastructure is becoming virtualized and becoming cloud. So it's essentially becoming software and becoming data. So that means that we can apply tools from software engineering like version control systems, and we can apply practices like test-driven development and continuous integration and continuous delivery and apply those to how we manage our infrastructure, which helps us to deliver more quickly with more reliability than we could before. So the basic principles are to make sure that we can rebuild any parts of our systems, of our infrastructure, very easily and very reliably, that we can keep things configured in a consistent way, and that we have just a high level of, everything is treated as constantly changing and being able to evolve and make fixes and improvements with very low overhead.
Okay, no principles without practices. So what are, in your opinion, the three maybe most important practices of infrastructure as code?
So the first practice is to make sure that you can define your infrastructure in files that you can treat like source code. So rather than having UI-driven automation tools where you have to point and click, which may not be very repeatable, you want to put it into files that you can put into a version control system, which leads to the second practice, which is testing, to use automated testing to test changes to your infrastructure. Every time you make a change, you want to be able to immediately test it and get fast feedback on whether it's going to break anything. And then I guess the third practice I'd advise is around, continuous delivery. So taking that testing and then being able to move changes through a pipeline automatically and make sure in each environment you're applying changes in the same way, so that you have a high level of confidence that what you put into production, you can put into production easily because you've already done it in previous environments and you can be sure that it's going to work.
Can I just retrofit infrastructure as code to my existing system, or do I have to do some yak shaving first?
I think the best way to approach it is to find small chunks that you can start with and to essentially build forwards. So rather than taking an existing instance of infrastructure and systems and trying to kind of automate changes to it, I would say, how can you replicate that system in a way that's completely driven through infrastructure as code? So can I have an image of servers that I can create and reliably create new servers from, and then configuration files to automatically configure those systems so that you can do that over and over and over again and then get that into a position where you can then move, that could become your running system. And do that for one slice of your system and take that through to production and get comfortable with how you make changes then to that system through to production, and then start expanding onto other parts of your estate.
So how would I test-driven develop infrastructure as code?
So the way you do that, assuming that you're using a tool like, say, Terraform and Chef to automate how you create a bit of infrastructure, is every time you make a change, you make a particular change to those files, you want to make sure you have tests that are going to capture that change and detect whether it's worked correctly. You put that test into an automated script of some kind and commit that with your code. And then over time, you build up, you do two things. You build up that kind of library of tests which give you the confidence if you make another change that you're not going to break something you didn't intend to break. And it also helps to improve the design of your system, because in order to have this automated testing on your system, it has to be well designed and clean and decoupled. Otherwise, it's just too difficult to test.
If everything is in version control, how should I deal with secrets like database passwords or server passwords?
Well, the first rule is never to put those secrets in plain text in your version control system. It's just too vulnerable. Even if it's a private repository, it's just too vulnerable to somebody getting access and getting at those secrets. So you can potentially put them in an encrypted form. There are tools that help you to encrypt secrets to store into version control. And then there are also tools like HashiCorp's Vault and others, which are essentially secret servers, which allow you to store secrets and manage secrets in a very controlled way.
Okay, thank you very much, and enjoy the conference.
Thank you.